You know it's going to be a good day when we are book hauling and we have got a matcha in our hands, and I am so excited because this is our first book haul of the year. Hello book reading friends, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Mel and welcome to a new video because a girl has gotten booked. I got booked. We have got a book haul today and I'm very excited about this because it's actually our first book haul of the year. Even though I've hauled a couple things here or there in different vlogs that I have put out this year, I have not really done a dedicated book haul, and honestly it's felt quite nice to not do so. I, as you guys know, have been on a pretty consistent, I'm not gonna say book buying ban because that sounds pretty extreme, like I'm banning myself from buying books. Like if I want a book, I'll just get it, but I'm trying to not accumulate so many new books because you guys know I'm committed to her. I'm trying to be respectful to the books that I already have, that I really want to read sometime soon, that I am working to downsize this year, and that I do want to get to as close to zero as possible by the end of the year. So because of it, I have been very mindful of the books that I've been getting this year, and they've either been books that I have bought and read immediately or that I have read sometime soon after. I think out of my new acquisitions, I only have one that I have purchased myself that I have not yet read, and that is going to be Agnes O'Bird. But other than that, everything else I am trying to read as I get, so that again, it doesn't accumulate over time. I've been quite good at it. For today, we have got a collection of things. We have got some ARCs that got here that have obviously yet to be released from publishers, some finished copies of books that have recently released that publishers have also sent over. I thought all these things would be worth sharing. And also some really exciting books that I have been thinking about getting for a while that are now in my hands, which I am very excited about as well. But let's get into it because there are 10 books to get through and there is no time to waste. And I am starting out with Corporate Samurais and Corporate Espionage because Miss Fonda Lee came out with The Last Contract of Isako, and I am so excited to dive into this one. Again, one of those books I am hoping I get into my June TBR because this is Miss Fonda Lee's dive into science fiction. She also released the Greenbone Saga a while back, which you guys know or might not know is one of my all-time favorite series. It is very fantasy. The Godfather meets martial arts. It's so good. So I'm very curious to see how this will differ from the Greenbone Saga and how she'll do under a different setting, a different genre, and with entirely new characters. In a world where corporate samurais are a thing, none is better than our main character Isako, whose longtime client has now decided they are going to retire, lay down their weapons, and no longer participate in some of the cutthroat activities they have been a part of. And Isako figures that this is her best exit as well. Her client is leaving, so must she, head held high, family's legacy intact. However, their direct competitor comes up with an enticing offer, a contract that in some way, shape, or form involves Isako's worst apprentice that has some way somehow made their way to the top, and Isako figures she cannot say no to this offer, and the story goes from there. Corporate espionage ensues, and I'm quite excited to see exactly what all of this will entail. It is a standalone, which I think will also be very curious given how the last go around we had with Miss Fonda Lee, it was built over the span of 3 separate books and it was so beautifully done. So I'm curious to see her not only in a different genre, a different setting, different characters, but also see how she handles wrapping everything up in a single book, especially knowing that her storytelling is always quite complex and intricate. So I'm quite excited about this one, and I'm so happy that I have it in my hands. Next up, we have got a sapphic fantasy romance. I don't know if fantasy romance is like the right way to categorize this one, if it's just a regular romance, but the back of the book does say that it's a fantastical novel, and that is A Star-Cursed Heart by Annie Mayer. I am really excited about this one because it's about 2 girls that are cursed, destined to hate each other, but obviously, naturally, the exact opposite ensues. And hear this tea out because it seems like leading up to the witch trials, a man made a deal with the devil that ended up cursing 2 families. And some 100 years later, both of these families, the Steadfast and the Preens, are still suffering the consequences of said deal. Latest to this deal or curse, or however we want to call it, we have got Lucy, that is supposed to reap the souls of the hopefuls. And then we have got Ash, who is meant to stop her. And both of these girls, despite growing up knowing the mantles of what they needed to take up and knowing that they were supposed to be feuding with each other and hate each other, ended up falling in love in quite an intimate way. And as they exist in this tug of war, trying to figure out exactly how to place their feelings for each other amidst this curse and deal, they decide that they will actually fight the curse. There's got to be something that will make their love true and lasting in ways that perhaps people don't expect. And it seems the story will explore some of the generational lies and half-truths that were told in order to uphold the deal and the curse that took place some 100 years ago, and that these girls will have to figure out exactly what they need to do in order to be together. It sounds like such a fun read. Another one of these books and I'm like, ooh, I feel like I could read this sometime soon. Even though it also is very much giving spooky vibes and October vibes, I think I don't really care. I feel like I could read this type of book at any point of the year, and hopefully I'll really enjoy this. So I am hoping this will be a good one. And it's actually really short. You guys know, I don't really mind a longer romance book. I know some people will say a romance book does not need to be longer than like 300 pages. This one's 332. And I'm like, you know what? Give me 400 pages. I'm not mad at that. So for every author listening, and I know maybe publishing will say otherwise, but girl, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid, because some of us really do like the lengthier romance books. Now, you guys know I love me some gothic, so when Harper Voyager reached out and they were like, girl, we have a book, dark fairy tale, gothic romance, historical fantasy, what would you say? I said, send it my way yesterday. So I do have an arc that at this point has already released. This came out the 26th of May, and that is A Dark and Wild Wood by Sarah Nicole Lemon. This book sounds so ridiculously good. We have our main character, Salome, that has been plagued by visions of spirits and powers that she cannot control her entire life. She and her sister Rochelle saw her foster mother be burned alive at the stake for being a witch, and both of them end up being raised at a convent in a very grim, bleak way. And then Rochelle goes missing, and in a desperate attempt to get her sister back, Salome flees first to a brothel, and then she ends up at the woods, and in said woods she ends up meeting Lord Death, and Lord Death says, hey girl, how about I take you back to my manor? In fact, you can become my apprentice. I can teach you all the ways of the Force. I can teach you how to use these powers that you are so afraid of, and I can mentor you. And this mansion, this manor that Death takes her to, is very confusing. One day it looks like one thing, it's very bleak and very decrepit, and then another day it's bountiful and beautiful, which I can only imagine as a setting must throw off our girl quite a lot. But the ultimate question always when dealing with any sort of deity is their words might seem very nice and you might be getting what you want and they're saying all these sweet, seductive, beautiful things, but can you trust them? And I am really excited because it says it's a romance, but it's not a romance. It's really dark as well. And I am looking forward to all of those things because it sounds like the exact line I like toying with when it comes to this sort of book and this sort of narrative. So I need to get to this one ASAP. Next up, historical romance. Yes, I do want sizzling tension. I do want the courting and the yearning. I feel like that's always very, very fun. So we have Game of Rogues by Julianne Long. This sounds so freaking good. We have our main character Gabriel, who presides over one of the most exclusive gaming hells in London, and one day he makes an enemy out of an earl's sister because said earl loses his entire inheritance in a single night. However, he gives Guinevere a chance, an offer, something that might just entice him to give back the inheritance to her brother, and that is to give him just one night. Just let's have some bout of intimacy in a single night. Let's do the thing. And I will give you what you want. Never look back again. Obviously, she says no, because who do you think she is? But as they keep encountering each other and the tension seems to be quite sizzling, they realize that this proposition is not a matter of if, but when, because it might have not happened immediately, but it's probably going to happen soon. And this kind of ends up with a game of cat and mouse between the two of them, as Guinevere realizes that he, despite being talked about as one of the worst men around, is one of the best men, if not the best man that she has ever met. And to be with him means to give up everything else in her life that is important to her. But for him, he knows it's a gamble he is willing to take, even though he might lose everything too. If it means to love her forever, he's willing to do just about anything. And I can't wait to see what that's going to look like. Also, this cover is absolutely stunning. There's not many covers that I have that look like this, so this is quite striking. and I'm very excited to get this read because it sounds juicy. The Red Winter is here. I am so excited about this one, honestly. Ever since I saw this book being talked about, I was like, oh, this sounds incredible. A queer historical fantasy sounds like exactly the type of thing I want more of, so I can't wait to get this read. Honestly, the hardcover, everything about this is stunning. Love the red sprayed edges. I think they're beautiful, but the hardcover size, it's just like slightly smaller than your typical hardcover, and it's so satisfying. I feel like I could take it with me everywhere. The Red Winter is set in the 1780s on the brink of the French Revolution, and we follow our main character, Professor Sebastian Grave, who has recently found out that the Beast of Gévaudan, I hope I've pronounced that right. I fear I butchered that really badly. But the beast has now returned, and he is very familiar with this beast because he tried to hunt said beast down some years ago, some 20 years ago to be exact, with a group of hunters. And he is now contacted by Antoine, somebody who also has a very close history with the beast, also an estranged lover of Sebastian's, in order to work together, to hunt together once more with the rest of the crew, in order to stop this beast from creating chaos and mayhem and to leave bloodshed in its wake. There also seems to be a demon companion in this one, which I think is gonna be so cool. It seems Sebastian specifically hunts with a demon called Sarmadel, and I can't wait to read this. It sounds so freaking good. This is one of those books that I'm like, I need to read this in June because it sounds absolutely phenomenal. So I am praying and hoping that the TBR jar is kind to me this go around, and that I do get to read this, because I would be so happy if I did. I've sampled this already, which is why I knew that I wanted to get this one, and I have been waiting for a while, and my local bookstore had it, and I was like, this is perfect. This is perfect, perfect, perfect. I needed this in my life. And again, historical fantasy is something that I deeply enjoy. I don't necessarily love historical fiction, but historical fantasy, sign me up. I do like it. I do like it quite a lot. Next up, I have got a book that actually releases in September, but it sounds so good, and I love to see me a book that is not set in your typical setting. This one is set in Mexico. It's called Rooted by Leopoldo. I would like to say goat, but I could be very wrong. I'm sorry if I butchered that. However, old gods cannot stay buried. Terrifying. Terrifying, and sounds exactly up my alley. And we have our main character, Aurora, who is totally fine. She's fine. She's absolutely okay. She, in fact, is having a great time. She's a very successful art lawyer who has recently come back to Mexico City in order to celebrate and support the repatriation of some stolen artifacts, specifically one of a statue of the Aztec god, the Flayed One. Except that as Aurora's sanity starts crumbling a little bit, and the lines between reality and her imagination start blurring, it seems she has to look a little bit into her family's history and exactly what the connection is between her and the Flayed One, because again, it seems that old gods cannot stay buried. That sounds so terrifyingly good. I can't wait to read this one. It's also super short. It's less than 300 pages, 272. So you know what? One of those reads that I have to get into, hopefully before it releases, because this sounds like the exact type of thing that I would adore. I also got Wild Reverence. My local bookstore had it too, and I was like, you know what? I have to get this because I absolutely loved the Letters of Enchantment duology, which I guess now is a series with this prequel, but I love Divine Rivals and I loved Ruthless Vows so much, and I have been wanting to read Wild Reverence for a while because I truly do miss Rebecca Ross's lyrical writing, and I feel like this will hit all of the spots. And after reading both of her biggest duologies, I guess we can say, I know I deeply enjoy her writing, so I figured this was a safer bet for me as far as something that I could get that I would want to read very soon and that I would potentially really enjoy. We follow Matilda, who is the youngest goddess in her clan, and she is blessed with messenger magic, which means that she carries the written word in between realms and takes it to the right people. However, and because of this magic, I think she has a secret that people would absolutely kill for, and when I say people, I mean fellow gods, which results in her fleeing. And on the flip side, we have got Vincent, who, as a human, sent Matilda a letter in his darkest moment. And now that Matilda encounters him again, he is now the lord of a river. And when the two end up meeting once more, it seems that them meeting through different times and iterations of their lives is sort of inevitable. And the story goes from there. And I love that. You guys know I love stories about inevitabilities when there's fate kind of having their hand in between. I think is going to be so beautiful, paired up with Rebecca Ross's atmospheric lyrical writing. I think I am in for a treat that I am going to really, really enjoy. And I'm excited about that. Another arc for something that releases in September is Daughter of the Dark by R.J. Valdeperas. This cover is absolutely stunning. Honestly, whoever is designing these covers this year, I think deserves a raise because all of these covers are ridiculously stunning. This one is by a Peruvian Venezuelan author, and the entire story essentially explores South American mythology, which sounds incredible. And we essentially follow our main character Solana, who is rough around the edges and who knows and understands that survival is her only tool. She is armed with a blood-forged dagger, and she has become Supai's fiercest slayer, freeing souls even though she is strapped in this setting, in this job, servicing what I will assume is this god. And to my understanding, Supai is in an eternal slumber, and because of it and because of their god's greed, humans are cursed to remain human forever and then turn into Muki. Do I know exactly what that means? No, but sounds fun. Sign me up. Solana is offered the title of Royal Demon Hunter, and she is now at a standstill trying to figure out what to do and what to decide, because to say yes might just mean revolution in a way that she is not necessarily ready to confront yet or to be a part of yet, because there's a darkness about Supai that calls to her soul like no other. It sounds like a good time. I love the mythology aspect of this, specifically South American mythology. I think that's going to be really freaking cool, and knowing that the book will spend some time challenging the confines of power and religion makes me even more excited to pick this up, because as a fellow Latina, there's quite a lot to criticize, let me tell you, historically and currently, so I can't wait to see what the author is going to do with this one. We also have something to unwrap thanks to Bloomsbury, because I am part of their creator circle, and I did not remember what I was getting this month, quite honestly, but this is quite exciting. This is Tailbone by Che Yun. I remember reading the synopsis for this one and I was like, yeah, I kind of need to have this book because it sounds like the exact type of thing that I would really enjoy. So let us bask in this moment of glory together. And they say that if you rip things enthusiastically, then it means good luck. So let's do some of that. But Tailbone, look at that. This cover is so simple. Let me just toss this to the side. But this cover is so stunning, so simple, but it does what it needs to do. Oh my god, I love the red. Honestly, I think we need more red covers, because why are they all white, blue, or black? Give me some color! The book is set in 2008 in South Korea, and we have got an unnamed main character, which is, again, fun, and her home life is quite turbulent. She has an alcoholic, abusive father and a very cowardly mother, and one day she decides she cannot withstand this anymore, and she flees her home, and the place where she lands is actually a boarding house for single women. In this boarding house, she ends up befriending a woman named Juju, who's quite beautiful, and they figure out together that their only means to survival is the patronage of the wealthy men that I will assume keep this boarding house up and standing. And this becomes particularly relevant in the story when a global financial crisis lands in Korea, and everything that meant safety to them is suddenly threatened. And the very bottom of the synopsis, and I remember reading this, says, as businesses close and winter set in, our narrator must confront her deepening fear for Juju's future and her own uncertain path. Will she stay on the run or go back home to her heartbroken mother? In a city where everything rots from greed and desperation, what can a woman like Juju teach her about survival? Will their hope for each other ignite courage or destruction? It sounds so good, like the exact type of lit fic I want to be reading. And you guys know, a lit fic once in a while never hurt anybody. It certainly does not hurt me. me, even though it might make me cry a little bit, it's always a fantastic time. So I am hoping I end up loving this one, but it sounds so very good. So thank you to Bloomsbury for sending this over. And I am so excited about this last one, you guys. I have been thinking about getting this book for a while and actually reading it because everybody's been loving this Lady Night story. And after seeing so many glowing reviews, even though I've never read anything by the author, I ended up getting The Everlasting by Alex E. Harrow. It looks so good. And again, anything that mentions fate to any capacity, I generally get really excited for because I just love tragedy. Like, I don't know what it is. Maybe I suffered like a tragic fate in a different life and I'm just trying to reconnect to that in some way, shape, or form. I got no idea. It's actually quite crazy, but this one sounds so good. The very bottom of the synopsis is the one thing I keep reading over and over again. We'll get into that one shortly. However, we do have a lady knight, Sir Una Everlasting, and she suffered a tragic fate that ended up saving the queen and the kingdom, as it was almost fated to have happened. She was a very fierce warrior, and anything she touched that she wanted to meet its end essentially met its fate as intended. And on the flip side, we have got Owen Mallory, a historian that had to leave his job in order to fight a war, and now he is back broken and low-key a little traumatized, and because of it he finds a lot of comfort in this one specific story. He finds himself time traveling, I think, and he finds himself in the time of Una Everlasting, and his job as a historian is to make sure that she meets her fate, except that they fall in love, and he has got to wonder. This is the bit about the synopsis that gets me. Sent back through time, the historian's task is to ensure that Sir Una meets her tragic fate, but instead, Owen falls in love with the complex woman behind the legend. He doesn't know how to watch her die, or how many times he has done it before. To rewrite Una's legend, they'll have to rewrite history itself. I am so excited about this one. Again, I don't know what I'm gonna do with my June TBR because now I want to read like 20 different books, and you guys know I try and not overwhelm my TBR with too much, but some of these newest entries into my TBR, into my library, into my shelves, I really do want to read it all like ASAP. So I'm going to have a little difficulty building my June TBR, but I think it's going to be exciting to see what ends up being there because I feel like I've got some really exciting things now all together, and I can't wait to build this TBR very soon. But this sounds so good. I am hoping I love it. This would be fantastic. All of my weightlifting comes down to this one moment, holding this stack of books. This is all that I have got for you guys today. This is the stack. These are the books. You know, 10 books, all that I'm very excited for, and hopefully we'll have found some really good reads through some of these, if not all of these. I honestly think it's very rare that I have a haul where I feel like super 5-star optimistic about most, if not all of them, but I'm like, no, I feel like all of these books will be really good to me, and I don't have even beneath a 4-star feeling about any of these. So I am very excited about every single one. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up down below. If you have acquired anything recently, I would love to know what you guys have acquired, what you have purchased, what you have entered into your own at-home library. I would love to know. If you have read any of these or are excited about any of these, I would love to know as well in the comment section. And if you reach the very end of the video, ooh, what can we do? Let us leave, you know what, let us leave some demon emojis. Any of the cursed demon emojis for the red winter. I feel like that would be perfection. So leave some of those down below if you reach the very end. Subscribe down below if you haven't done so already for more content like this. I realize I should probably put the stack of books down. Will I? Maybe not. If you want more content from yours truly, I do have a Patreon. It's always linked down below. We do a ton of extra content and live streams and hangouts, sprints, game nights, movie nights. We have a Discord server, a book club, a ton of extra buddy reads. I would say it is worth your time if you ever do decide to join. It helps the channel a ton. Whether you do or if you don't, you can become a Maester of the Citadel at the link at the top of the description. I appreciate every single one of my patrons for supporting the channel in this way, and every single one of you guys watching. I appreciate you so much as well for being here, for interacting with the content, and for being in community here with me together with the Citadel and just having a fun time together. It is still so so surreal that I get to call this a job every single day and that I get to show up for you guys, and I will never take that for granted, and I am so deeply grateful for being here with you guys. So thank you so much for everything you do, for watching, for liking, for commenting, for showing up to the streams. You guys are absolutely incredible, and I love being here with you. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Once more, we have a stream tomorrow because tomorrow is Monday, so I will see you there at 5 p.m. Central to get some reading done. It will be quite good, if I do say so myself. I don't know what I'll be reading then, but we'll figure it out. So make sure you turn on those notifications because it's surely scheduled by now. And I will see you very soon, whether you're there or whether you're on the rewatch. I'll see you in the comments. Love you guys so much, and I will see you very soon. Goodbye!